You're saving too much for retirement. What? You're crazy, Josh. You're crazy. How dare you? We need to save every penny we can because, blah, 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 blah. All right, so a couple days ago, I did a video from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They have this thing called the Monthly Labor Review, and that I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So if you look at the Monthly Labor Review, it goes back to 19. You can see all these years. It goes back to 19. You get just tons of stuff. And the one I did was in 1982, I think, where we looked at retirees, their spending in retirement, and it turns out that retirees were spending about a half of their pre-retirement income, a half. And yet the vast majority were still content in retirement. That doesn't mean they're freaking, eating ribeye every night and lighting cigars with $100 bills, but they were content. Not contempt, content. They're happy. Yeah, happy. They were content. There's no contentment, man. You know what that means. They weren't starving. They weren't freaking eating their children. They're just like, yeah, we're getting by. Even though they're only making in retirement income half what they're making before. That's in 1981. All right, now here we are, 2024, and everybody and their mom still says there's a retirement savings crisis. We're not saving enough, blah, 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 blah. And yet every single year we have survey after survey that says the vast majority of people are content in retirement. And the reason for that is because their income matches their expenses. Now, one of the things for me that really that broke the mold for me, or mold, whatever it is when I read this guy Ty Bernicki article in the Journal for Financial Planning in 2005. I've told you a million times if you've been following this channel how that guy just rearranged my whole paradigm when it comes to retirement planning. I was like, huh. And his premise was his clients don't spend as much as they thought they did. In fact, they spend less, and they spend less, and they spend less each and every year when they retire. And then he looked at BLS data, Bureau of Labor Statistics, again, the Consumer Expenditure Survey. He goes, oh, it's not just me. This is what the BLS is reporting too. But he wasn't the first. Well, for me, he was the first. And that's why if I could nominate somebody for the Financial Planning Nobel Prize, it would be Ty Bernicki. But he wasn't the first. It was these guys right here. We got, I'm going to show you right here, Ken Ticino and Cynthia Salzman, and they had written an article, Do Accumulations Models Overstate What's Needed for Retirement? And here's an article by Jane Bryant Quinn, Retirement Calculators Aim Too High. And this is from 1999, right after the Ken and Cynthia published their article, and I'm not sure where they published that. I think it was actually Journal for Financial Planning, actually. And so you can see right quick, watch. I typed in newspapers.com, Ken Ticino, and all these people were talking about Ken and Cynthia's article because they knew. They said, wait a second. This changed everything. It changes everything. All right, so let me find Jane Bryant Quinn's one again. Hold on a second. By the way, I just want to address something real quick when it comes to employer-sponsored pension plans. People hear pension and they think it's inherently a defined benefit plan, that your company gives you, $1,500 a month every month at death, when you retire. Well, that's not necessarily what a pension plan is. There are other pension plans here. In fact, defined contributions can be seen as a pension plan too. So when you're hearing all these people say, all these people had pension plans in the old days, you got to say defined pension. If it's a defined benefit plan, that's one aspect of a pension. If it's a defined contribution plan, that's another aspect. I was reading this book, and off the top of my head, I can't remember. I forgot what it was. I'm drawing a blank what it was. Anyway, the guy was talking about pension plans, and he used in all-inclusive IRAs, even 401ks, and then all this stuff in terms of defined contribution plans as well as defined benefit plans. A professor back, and there's an article written in 1981 or something like that. Anyway, it just says, why do I bring that up? Because we'll see right here. But more than 50% of the workforce has no employer-provided pension, whether it be a traditional defined benefit plan or a 401k investment program where employees make tax-deferred contributions on their own. All right, so again, just whenever you hear these studies and say, oh, everyone had pensions back then, ask what type of pension, a defined contribution plan or defined benefit plan. And what these guys are talking about was a SARSEP, and I can't remember, they don't even offer it, I don't even think they offer them anymore. SARSEP was a big one back in the early 90s, and then it went to Simplified Employee Pension Plan, it's a SEP IRA, and they have simple IRAs, all this stuff. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's keep going back to Ticino and what's her name again? I forgot her name. Cynthia Saltzman. All right, so I want to show you guys this real quick. This is Humberto Cruz. Do you have enough money saved to retire? And check this out. I just realized I have enough money to retire right now. And you, if you're still working and struggling to save for retirement, probably don't have to sock as much away as you thought. Already retired, you may be fine with what you have. I came to these conclusions, which confirms a gut feeling I've had for months after poring over a 12-page article in the Journal for Financial Planning entitled Do Accumulation Models Overstate What's Needed to Retire? Or in my own words, are those dire warnings you'll end up in the poorhouse unless you save $1 million or more just a case of the financial industry crying wolf? The authors of the article, Ticino and Saltzman, don't use those words, of course. We should emphasize, they wrote in the journal, that it's not our intention to suggest that consumers have been unethically prompted to oversave by an industry whose hunger to garner assets under management. Yep. So it's citing numbers from other studies and surveys over the past 20 years. The article shows most retirees continue to save money 8 years into retirement. They're saving money even into retirement. And that, except for healthcare, older people cut back on spending even if their income stays the same. That's the same thing readers have been telling me. The need for money will diminish, says a reader from David Dingree of Orlando. If you're 65, you may look forward to 25 to 30 years of life. At 80, your needs will be about half to 3/4 of what they are at 65. Exactly. Your readers are right, and it's common sense, Ticino. The bottom line is that as you age, natural things occur. For example, you give up the car because you can't drive anymore. 100%. The article should not be taken to mean that you shouldn't save for retirement. 100%, man. And if you've determined you have saved more than you needed, rejoice. You can spend more now, save less, and build a bigger nest egg for your heirs. 100%. Here's Jane Bryant Quinn taking on people in the industry who said some financial planners might not count your future Social Security payments because Social Security won't be there when you retire. Yeah, okay, that's just silly. But both those are, this assumption is incorrect. One about Social Security. Let's say the U.S. sees only mediocre growth of the next 3 decades, which is what we've had. In that case, Social Security Trust Fund would run out by money by 2034, 100%. But thanks to the continuing flow of payroll taxes, 70% of all the promised benefits will still be paid. It's sheer ignorance to say the system will go bust. I could not agree more. If you want to use a 70% threshold for your Social Security, by all means do so. I think it's silly, but you could do that. But certainly more beneficial to you than saying there won't be any Social Security. There's just no evidence of this, man. It's just not. You're just, I mean, if you want to do that for yourself, go crazy. I don't ever do that because I think it's just dumb. I'm not going to pay Social Security. Okay. Okay. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. I think it's stupid to do that. But anyway, so now let's assume the economy grows as fast. Oh, wait, we already said that. Hold on a second. Retirement calculators usually overstate how much you'll spend when you retire. They take a ballpark number, 80%, and project it with inflation. But older retirees don't spend as much as younger retirees. They don't have a mortgage. They don't travel as much. They buy cars less often or quit driving entirely and buy a few new clothes. They spend more on medical care as they age, but not enough to offset the steady drop in the rest of their living costs. Yep. Ken Ticino and Cynthia Saltzman talked about that in the video we just did. Anyway, so I tell you, man, the idea that this is new stuff, newfangled new stuff that I'm just bringing to you, we've all known this, just very few financial planners have talked about it. Because again, I think the vast majority of the industry isn't deep thinkers. I do believe that. I think they're too busy, talking about college football, fantasy football, and not doing any real deep research. Yeah, they got their CFP, and that's not that hard anymore. You think no one else? No, I didn't say no one else. I said the vast majority. I think it's probably 20% of the population out there in the financial planning realm who are actually students of the business. I think the rest are not. And that's just too bad because we need students of the business to guide people to have a better retirement. Because right now everyone's freaking out. Oh my goodness, blah, blah, blah. And you don't need to be, man. You just don't. And they're not taking away Social Security. Anyway, love your thoughts. God bless. Put your comments in the show notes. We'll see you.